What's up, everybody? My name is Richard Terrell. I go by Kirby Kid, and you are watching DO Live. On this particular episode, I will be playing Patch Quest, which you have seen on this channel multiple times. We are following this game over time and talking about its design, talking with its creator, Lemon, who is on the chat, and just kind of playing it and seeing how it goes. So, nothing too formal this time, just the two of us.
Let's go.
You can make it if we try. Got it, here we go. Boom. Okay. Hitting the button, starting a new game. Random until I find someone who looks exactly like me. There. We'll take it. You ready? Play now. Oh, should I have skipped the intro? Nah. We'll let people watch.
Beep up boop.
I am Pat.
Boop up beep.
Who made the beep bops?
Beep beep.
I got a voice actor to do that. It's not me.
You got them to just say like beep and bop.
Yeah, I gave him a page of different like iterations of beep bop boop that I wanted to read out.
Sedative lace glute.
Ready?
You should have like one of the dialogues randomly just like talk in perfect English. 1 in 20.
Eat this glute. You are forced to eat it. I like the sound effects for the reason. Empty chamber.
Nice.
Okay, let's hope everything is not too loud in the audio balance. It should be pretty good.
Boop bop beep bop. Beep 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 bop boop.
So this new, this next section is a new feature that I added recently, where you can activate a super mode in your weapon by picking up fruit and blending it into your gloop. And the fruits that you get give different effects to the weapon ammo that you use.
Ready?
So you see on the left you have rapid fire.
Bring on the monster!
Perfect. Beep beep bop boop. Boop bop beep bop. Ready?
Ready? Tap, tap, tap.
Wow. Boop boop beep bop. Boop bop beep.
It's pretty loud.
Beep bop boop boop.
Yeah, it is. Need to tweak a few things about this tutorial.
Much better. Okay. I could dash over a rock.
You should be able to like dash around a rock. It should like push you as you go past it.
Beep 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 bop boop. Ready?
There we go. We'll have to return grapple. Better leave me alone. Can I kill more bees? Wow. Triple shot! Triple shot! Get that.
Awesome. Boop bop beep bop. Huh? Boop bop beep.
Did you ever think about when you defeat enemies, animating them in a somewhat falling asleep animation?
Boop bop beep bop.
I have thought about things like that, but it's difficult to do with the way the enemies are all set up. They're set up using like a skeletal animation system rather than having individual sprites for different states that they're in. Partially because that helps me develop a lot faster because I only have to make one set of sprites for a monster. So it is difficult. It'd be a lot of extra like texture memory and things to do something like that.
Okay.
To do something like what?
To have a separate like image of the monster being like asleep, to like redraw its face and have it being like...
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I generally do those kinds of effects with sort of particles that fly off the monster or something, or colorizing it or something like that, where I don't have to redraw it.
Nice.
You might be able to like put a bone over the eye and then like scale it down to pinch it, and then add like Z's over its head. But
Well, I have Z's over its head for when they get the drowsy ailment. But yeah, I don't have anything like any bones in their eyes currently.
Bone eyes, bonitis. Okay, here we go. Not many people know about bonitis. I don't have a choice.
We just got a comment in the chat saying Richard's quite quiet.
Okay, I can boost
Compared
that.
to...
Okay, where is my Yeti mic? Oh, that's... I'll just twist this button that says gain. I'm sure that'll work. Now I'm much louder without trying much harder. Okay. If that's not loud enough, I need to get the Twitch chat up, actually. Twitching as can be. I need to stop this from streaming, too. I hate it when Twitch does that. I don't want you to stream. And I can lower Lemon's audio just by going through Discord like this. And crikeys. Okay. Why can't our computers be smart enough to do that for me instantly?
Is that better now? Are we more even?
Yeah, let us know, Clifton. Clifton B's in the chat. It's been a while since I talked to him.
So the overworld now has more than just the 4 areas that you saw in the last one. There's actually 8 different variants that can appear as you get further away from the center of the map.
Beep 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 bop boop. Boop beep bop.
Boop beep bop. I'm soaked! I wish I wasn't. I still see him. I don't. Should have captured that jerk.
Beep bop boop.
Longer cooldowns. I thought that's exactly what it did. I'm like, this is taking too long. I'll kill you.
That was close.
I thought that power-up flying towards me was an enemy. I'm like, what the? No, it's right there. Cool. Now I know how to use plants. Let's do this. Gotta take a lot of hits, and I'm bad. What's this ability? Surfing?
Surf makes you invincible when you're in the actions. You can surf through bullets.
Yeah. I said yeah. I love that sound effect. It's like I'm drinking or eating something. We can always go back. Give me those hearts, I'm playing carelessly.
Yeah, you can take that as well.
We're charging into battle. Get it? Literally charge. Okay. You think you got me cornered? I have you cornered. Surf. Oh, no! I don't have surf!
Ooh, glitched out and went off the board there, but it's okay.
Okay. I just grabbed some of these. Are you telling me there's not a fruit in this game called lemon?
There is no lemons.
Just
no.
plain lemon. Just lemon. That's what I want. It should do nothing. Just, delicious.
If you clear, oh no, you are ready. You can capture something now.
Ready? Cap.
I think your next room will be a safe room, so you could
It has bullets.
capture more stuff.
It has bullets on it.
Yeah, it's a supply room.
Oh, that's what supply means. Those are bullets are gonna kill me. Look at all this stuff. Look at all this stuff. I'm gonna capture. You only. Looks like you only capture like this little one at a time.
You capture one patch.
Yeah, instead of like 9 at a time. I don't remember if that was how it always was. Ready? Cap.
Nice. Boop bop beep bop.
I don't want to open that menu. Let's eat everything. I better. This looks like a permanent upgrade. I better not miss this. Nice.
That's an upgrade for the run you're on.
Okay. Well,
But you do get permanent upgrades as well. You'll see once you've recalled here.
give me that rank. Select a skizzle. Jeez. Ultra ammo. Activate using left bumper. Okay. That one's the least fun.
Yeah, but it's needed for players who are bad at these games.
Yeah, it's true.
The ammo pod is the most fun, definitely.
It's like mix everything. Smoothie time.
Awesome. Beep bop boop boop. Beep 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 bop boop. Beep beep bop boop.
I will call the shots. At you! Oh. So right now it looks like I have nothing, so if I... Oop. No. I'll just go here.
I'm gonna change how all the base building works next month. I have a plan to sort of simplify it, but also make it a bit more interesting, where you're sort of ranching the monsters in the game.
Monster Range.
But for now, it's very like minimal what you can do with your base building.
I lose track of my cursor. What's happening right here?
Your cursor. You
I have to back out and go back in to get it back.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. That's a bug, I think. Okay. You should be able to move along the along the buttons there. So you can see the different colors. They represent different habitats.
Let's see. So the map should be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Oh no. Does he reload automatically at the end of every sort of successful patch?
You reload when you run out of shots.
I just happened to run out. I see you.
Watch out for the homing bees.
How do I steal this? What does that do? Does that dismount me?
If you hold B, you dismount.
Okay, why can't I pick up the... It's just a flower, that's why. It's not a
It's
fruit.
just a flower, yeah.
Hey, lion. These are bombs. I like rapid fire. Speed's also nice. But I can only hold one type of fruit, is that correct?
You can hold 2 now, because you upgraded.
Because I have that ability.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fine. Or nice.
If you pick up another one, you'll drop one of them on the floor, so you can sort of mix them around.
Oh, this is not good. I better use my special ability called Kill Him. Quit defending. I said quit defending. Angry. What's glide do? Defense? Nice.
So yeah, it lets you fly when you, and it also lets you when you're dashing, you go through bullets.
Is that like surfing, or is it different?
Yeah. Well, surfing destroys the bullets.
Oh.
You have like a wall of water, but gliding lets you go through them. But then it also lets you float, so you can float over the lava, for example, if you have the fly buff.
This guy's going down. Oh, I went straight into it. I don't want extra damage. No. I can grab any patch I want.
Capture. Yeah. You should try and get something with 2 different types or 3 different types of thing on it, so that you get more value out of your capture.
The transition used to not be like this, right? Before it used to just kick you completely in. I don't remember being able to stand halfway in a patch like this.
In a room, you can, yeah. There are connector like patches that go between rooms, so that you can transition.
And take a peek.
Yeah, take a peek.
Box peek.
You didn't use your capture, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm looking for something tasty. Ah! These guys are jerks. These guys have a lot more hit points than I remember them having. So you have less waves.
Early monsters.
Okay. I just went straight into the fire again. He's hitting me with cell phone attacks. Signal. We'll call that signal beam. Oh no, I was tricked. I got more stamina from nothing? Oh wait, that was my rider stamina.
Yeah.
You eating that stuff, lion? Cause you about to die. Whoa, he's stunned. He's almost dead because he's colorless?
Yeah, that means you can mount him now.
Oh, might as well.
You have to circle him twice though, because he's an elite monster.
Oh my gosh. I want an elite monster! Let's crush it.
So he gave you a 10 HP shield,
Yeah.
and his attacks are also boosted versions of the attacks. But you can't use his attacks yet, 'cause you haven't leveled them up.
I'll just find a field of Pidgeys and level them up easy.
So your roar ability stuns nearby monsters.
There you go. He's angry.
You're almost ready to capture another one.
Nice. Okay. Living off the land. Welcome, stupid turtles. No, don't reflect it! Roaring didn't help.
You have to be relatively close to the monster to...
Ready?
So that bar is how long I have the mega shot left, and then they both disappear,
Yeah.
and then I can tap that.
You can shoot to sort of drain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has one thing in it.
Because you've already captured the other one. There's a boss battle there. Oh, not yet, actually.
For anyone who doesn't want to aim, activate homing. Ah, Lunon.
Beep bop boop boop.
Gnash your teeth together to release a wave of shots. Left bumper, okay. My patch isn't gonna be so good.
If you capture one more thing, you should get another level. Because you'll have 3 things.
I like this tree. Okay. Nice. I'm trapped! Oh, I'm not close enough. You get stunned. What's my... Yeah, it's my ability.
Ooh, you shouldn't have launched forward that fast. That's a bug.
Okay. Roar. Chomp. Roar chomp. Let's do this. I'm gonna kill this guy. I can't kind of tell where my hitbox is gonna be. Is it bigger because I'm on a lion?
It is bigger. That's also partly why you get a shield when you're on a jumbo monster.
Okay.
Or on a
Yeah, elite.
elite. Yeah.
Hey, he's following me. Or I am it.
You get to control it for a bit.
Nice. Let's knock some trees around, my friend. Oh, everyone's running. I'll just manipulate the patches to my desire.
You can actually do that, yeah.
Beep beep boop. Beep bop beep bop. Beep 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 bop boop.
Only. That's right.
Boop bop boop bop.
You can't push the tree off of the board that it's currently on.
Okay. What's the symbol at the bottom versus the oh, the storm's coming from the left. Oh,
Symbol on the left is a key thing.
okay.
So you should preferentially go left here. That bug makes that skill very difficult to use. You just leap forwards in danger.
Rampage! You just got hit by my shield. Bad move, you. I better use this while I have it. It's gone. Oh no! Rory!
This is it. If you can get through this room, you'll get to a story section.
Oh, I'm behind a tree. Not good. Are they getting hurt by the plants?
No, not these plants.
Okay. My patch is ready? I have nothing interesting to catch. I feel like it.
Wow. Boop, boop, beep, bop.
Geiger counter. Ooh. I want to send my home to it.
Goodbye, home.
Fine. I thought that might relocate my base, but I guess not.
Awesome. Boop, bop, beep, bop.
Interesting.
Beep, bop, boop, boop. Beep, beep, bop, boop.
Beep beep bop boop beep beep bop beep beep bop boop beep beep beep. Give me that. Give me that. I can't double up my fruit. What kind of smoothie is this? You jerk! I'm in trouble.
Pretty adventurous trying to mount with the 3 monsters in a room.
I was canceling their attacks. I should have used my banana.
Yeah, you should have. You got to be careful though, because they can reflect.
Yeah.
So using a super ammo against reflecting monsters isn't always the best option. So you can get up to 3 fruits in your smoothies. Although it's a little excessive, you wouldn't necessarily always want to store all 3. Sometimes it's better to like use 2 and then maybe save 1 for your next blend. The lasso reel is very helpful for letting you
Actually capture them, yeah.
Yeah. The flash bomb is underpowered right now, so I'd recommend not getting that. I'm planning to buff it in the future.
Time to get the flash bomb. I have a sickness where I go for low tier things. Nice hole to confirm. Nice license board too. I just started playing Final Fantasy 12. You must have a license to use this weapon. Therefore, we call it a license board.
Beep, beep, beep,
So if you look on your map now, you can see that you've got your pinned patch in that location.
Yeah.
However, I should now say that I've completely changed that mechanic for the new version that's going to release at the end of this month.
Okay.
So,
Ignore it for now.
if you, yeah, I'll explain it later in the stream.
Okay.
But for now, you can keep checking out the areas and things. There's 8 sub-habitats in addition to the 4 starting habitats that are around your base exits. And different ones spawn closer to different, different habitats.
Are there any advantages to not having your mount on you?
If you don't have your mount, it's generally a disadvantage, but if you unlock the flash bomb and the stun gun, you can use them without being mounted. So they sort of like lessen the degree to which it's a weakness.
I'm getting killed. I'm getting killed. Wow.
I think the bees are currently one of the toughest monsters in terms of balance. Because they have that homing attack primarily, then their secondary attack is also poisonous, which deals extra damage to you, so they're quite fearsome.
No, why? Where's my hitbox?
So one of the key weaknesses of not being mounted is that you don't have a defense skill, because all of the monsters have a defense skill. And that's very useful for situations where you get cornered by bullets.
How much do you lose when you die?
Nothing. Really.
Just like Remnant.
You can no longer capture anything, basically. You have to start again and recharge up your capture meter.
Yeah. I blocked you with a piece of plant.
So this one can go into bullet time.
Nah, I'm speedy. Not good. Speedy. Velostrich. Have you thought about putting your voice in the game?
For what?
Describing the enemies like you do in your YouTube videos.
Yeah, I'll narrate the game.
It's like
People are playing. It'll be like I'm on stream with them.
yeah. I activated QuickTime. QuickTime. It's called Kill You Time. Look at that.
Danger!
I'm gonna kill this Speedy. I'm speedy. Are we both speedy? Because it looks like that person's still slow.
When you're both speedy, they are still slowed, but not by as much.
We're supposed to enter a new space-time. Ow! Where's my? I need to know where my hitboxes are. But that's kind of interesting.
I definitely do need a way of better representing your hitbox.
If it's gonna be like different and dynamic depending on who you're riding.
It is always a circle,
It's always a certain.
but the circle can get larger depending on what monster you're riding. If the monster's like larger than usual.
Sword get longer. That's a cool bar from Yu Yu Hakusho. Maximum clip. So this is like the more you hunt specific enemies, the more powerful they get, like Monster Hunter or something. And you can go out.
The way it works is that the more you hunt while you're riding a monster, the more powerful it gets.
So what about these bosses? It looks like my Velostrich affinity reached 1. What does that mean?
That's because you were
riding it?
basically it means it's because you were riding it.
Okay,
You got a whole bunch of experience points because you beat a jumbo monster.
Okay,
But
so
the monster you fight doesn't give you the
Velociraptor
It's the monster you're
EXP.
riding.
Okay, okay. Okay, cool. Time to destroy some folk. This part's interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, it's funny, but it's not interesting. I guess it allows you to travel like really easily, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
Shortcut?
a skip, a
Yeah,
shortcut skip kind of thing.
I think I just,
as a reward for beating the boss.
I think my first time I just stood around too long then, and not doing anything so I thought it was longer than it was. It's just like three tiles.
It's 2 battles you skip. The next
two
two
battles. Oh, interesting. So you don't waste it on like empty patches just because they're in your way.
Yeah.
Wait, sir. Sir.
So you got the shrunk buff there. It's very powerful.
I'm tiny.
Yeah. Because you touched the shrink stool.
I did. How much of that do you think is I have to figure out how much I feel like I have to stop and like look at lore to figure out what's happening to me in real time?
Sure.
So if I hit a button, is there anything context based on the last thing that happened to me? So if I got hit by, I'm small, I'd hit a button and be like, you got hit by a shrink stool, and it's your voice.
Yeah,
Can I
that would
get
be that would be pretty helpful. You can't get that, but that's a good idea to have that in the pause menu. But what does happen is that when you get an ailment, it appears above your head with a word.
Yeah, that's good. I canceled you because you were angry. What do I do to yoink him?
It's L, the same button that you used to lasso them.
Oh, okay. I was holding down the lasso the whole time. It just seemed like that was the kind of thing I should do.
You don't have to.
But yeah, it's completely unnecessary in the grand. I'm still tiny. Oh, it's a status.
So you'll have that until you well, actually,
Grow
in this
up.
version, you'll have that basically forever now. So
Nice.
But I've nerfed it slightly in the version that's going to come out at the end of January. Because if you pick up a healing thing, it will
Restore.
restore your oldness. Because I made it so that because it's a buff, it doesn't get removed by heals, but it just seemed too powerful.
Oh yeah,
You
because now I
stay
can't
strong forever.
I can't get hit as easily.
Exactly.
I like
it's
it.
extremely powerful.
I like it. Cleanse. Oh no! Well, that's what happens to me.
There you go.
No, I didn't want that one.
Sorry.
If you wanted to help people hit the one they want, you would just need to add a sound effect to the roulette so that either when it recycles or something that it has a sound effect so they can get the rhythm based on listening to it and time their button based on audio cues.
Oh, like a different sound for each option.
Yeah, like dung 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 ding.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
I know
that
when I
makes
want it. Because right there is quiet. I'm like, it's not that or I know which one I want, but it wasn't like exciting or anything. And then I'm disappointed, so I'm like, Urgh.
Yeah. Just making some notes here.
You got roared.
Ready?
Okay. Crowd control, you say? Ah, I want a volcano. Welcome to the jungle. Didn't kill them all. Do you ever want to give a bonus to players who have really good aim?
In what way?
Like if you tap the shoot button instead of holding it down, that first bullet it's like a little bit more damage. So that if you like move carefully, conserve your ammo, and take really good shots, you'll ultimately be doing more damage.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, if you haven't shot for like a
second or
certain
whatever.
period of time, then your next shot is more powerful, like it's a rifle or something.
The reason I suggest that is like three things. With shoot 'em ups, especially, giving people a reason not to constantly hold down the button is important. And even though you have long reloads, which is pretty good, it's not that much of a deterrent from just holding, spraying, and praying. When your shoot button's on a trigger, I think it's harder to hold a trigger for long periods of time than a face button. So yeah,
I have actually just last week made a change. It's a little bit experimental to the control scheme because what I was finding was a slightly different problem. Was that when people play tested the game who weren't very familiar with playing action games or shoot 'em up games, people like my uncle. Or just people who don't play a lot of these games, they found it very difficult to get their head around moving with left stick, aiming with right stick, and shooting with the trigger all at the same time. And so the change that I've made is what I've done is now you don't have to hold trigger, and instead you shoot when you aim. Because your gun is rapid fire, it feels okay to sort of shoot when you aim.
A couple of games do that, I think. Does Enter the Gungeon do it?
Enter the Gungeon has a trigger. It's all about conserving ammo, and Enter the Gungeon kind of silly considering it's a game about getting all these weapons, but then you have to really conserve your ammo and not use most of them. But
I think Next Machina is just point the stick and it shoots. And I feel like another one I played recently, probably Assault Android Cactus.
Yeah. Well, I found it made a big difference, with like family members playtesting it who obviously don't play a lot of these games. They found it much easier to move and shoot at the same time if they weren't thinking about the trigger. So I think I'm going to keep that change.
You think it'd be too dangerous to have it to where when they hold the trigger, their character is planted in place and then the left stick just becomes aiming? One button, one stick instead of two sticks?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. That would change a lot because you wouldn't be able to move and shoot.
They might die. It just depends, I guess. I'm teaming!
But, maybe I could add that I could add that as well.
Yeah.
Because at the moment I have nothing to do with the trigger. So perhaps if you hold the trigger, it does just plant you and let you aim. Maybe that could be some kind of...
Goodbye,
maybe
turtle.
That could have a bonus to it if you're still. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Kid Icarus Uprising has the don't touch anything to charge your shot, and based on experience playing shooters on handheld, if you have to press that button a lot, it breaks the button and it hurts so much over time.
You have to press the... Wait, but you don't press it, right?
Yeah, and Kid Icarus was good. Metroid Prime Hunters was not so good.
Oh, I see. You're right, yeah.
Matt and I both broke our L buttons. We played it a lot. Yay! Clear combo? And... Spiny shield? So I know now that I have to choose between one of them.
Yeah.
I think that's best communicated with the roulette that you had before, even though the roulette is. That's
3 options. Yeah.
Or just like if it's 2, then I only get one choice. Because I remember first playing this, I'm like, oh, I get all of them. I'll just get this bad one first. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna keep my condition, thank you. It's cool, your farts are smaller when you're shrunk. That's also kind of a neat counterbalance. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go that impact your size, and then your size impacts your bullets and things like that. Also, when you are riding a large monster, your mount attacks will be larger. So it's one of the benefits of having an elite.
That's fun. Did you Oh shoot!
You can't mount that yet because
Until
it's
it does
elite.
the thingy, yeah.
I'm gonna do something to make elites like more obvious that they're different. Because at the moment the main thing is just that they're a little bigger. It's not so clear.
Come on! Oh, it's double loop. Yeah. Okay. I forgot. Don't kill
Remember,
me!
you can swing them. Also, that's a difficult one to mount. Honestly, I need to balance the berserker because his homing attack is so powerful when you're on the lasso.
Freaking jerk!
Ready?
Oh, don't
You
worry.
are actually on a elite large monster, but because you have the shrunk,
Oh, don't worry. I
buff,
planned
he
ahead.
looks smaller.
I planned ahead for that one. I keep hitting the wrong button for that. I play too much Switch.
Oh, because X is.
Yeah.
I have that problem when I go back to Switch. I'm like, this isn't the Xbox at all.
Have you considered doing the Breath of the Wild, in which when you indicate buttons, it's a little diamond, so that no matter what controller or what the labels are, it's like the up button. You're like, cool. Even if you still keep
Yeah, I
the
might do
lettering.
that.
It's so good. Glide! I keep gliding into stuff. So, I guess it's a dash instead of a glide.
It's a dash, yeah. It's a dash, but then you gain the flying buff after you complete the dash.
Okay, when I'm thinking, I guess that's what glide means too. I was like, oh, I'll control it a little bit more, and I just keep flying into stuff.
It would be cool to make it a bit more unique compared to the dash ability. Could maybe make it so that you can sort of steer as you glide forwards.
What makes them
or
angry?
something. When they're alone.
Okay, I thought so. Just like in
It's
Zelda.
it's just to stop the last monster being too trivial. It no longer has to like charge its attacks because it's the only one. It can just spam attacks at you, so it's a little bit more balanced.
Bring on the bosses. Do I check my map? I can check my map at any time, can I?
Yeah, with Y, with the top button,
Okay, I'm gonna go left.
and then yeah.
I guess I avoided a storm, but this time I'll go to this one. There's no way to reload, right?
Manually, no, there isn't a button for that. I mean,
That's fine.
I thought about adding one, but
I mean,
it's another button.
yeah, I don't think it needs another button. If you really wanted to add a reload, not shooting for a period of time could just like start slowly filling your ammo back up.
That does happen. That does happen.
Then that's good. That's all I need. I don't even know what attacks I need. Besiege. What button is it? There we go.
LB.
Besiege! Get
You
beat.
can make monsters itchy because it's an itchy style skill. That's something that you haven't done much, is that your mount skills have ailments on them, and then the ailments can interrupt monsters.
I should have glided on that one first. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Interesting. Was there red on the screen or anything to indicate I was near death?
No. It's only your HP. What I maybe could do is make the background change to red. That would be kind of a peripheral vision kind of way of showing it.
Or add that very beloved Zelda chime that everyone loves.
No, I had something like that, and my friend made me remove it.
Yeah, people
He
hate
got
that
so
thing.
angry at me.
People hate that thing. Anyway, Marcus, your name should be Haji in Twitch, but you spelled it wrong. Okay. Waddlewick, Dandlewick. I feel like this is like, why would I read these?
You don't have to. I am gonna I do have a plan for making these more interesting in terms of developing your base and sort of well, basically what I'm going to do is, so at the moment they have an effect at the top. You
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
those effects. The way it works is that when you plant a patch in a storm vortex,
Uh-huh.
when you return to that area, the things that you planted have effects that sort of buff that area. But it's not having play tested it now a very interesting system because it's so situational
Yeah.
in terms of when it can actually happen. So what I'm doing this month I've been adding some dungeons to the game and sort of reworking the overworld based on that. But next month I'm going to rework the base building and make it more based around the idea of ranching the monsters. So you'll be in your base, and then a monster will show up. Maybe you've been riding Velostrich a lot, so maybe a Velostrich shows up and starts chilling out in your base. And Velostrich has a certain diet of things that it likes to eat. So it might like to eat, bushes, or it might like to eat, I have to think about it, like
Ferns.
shrubs or ferns. Yeah, it might like to eat ferns. That'd be a good one. And so you see here, you've got 2 ferns, so you can feed them to your pet Velostrich. And once you've fed it enough things, it'll leave an egg for you, and then the eggs are going to replace the vortexes, because the vortexes are very situational. They only spawn in certain locations, and it's kind of difficult to actually get any benefit out of them. So what you're going to be able to do with these eggs is they'll be spread around the map. There will be nests, and you can put an egg in the nest, and then it's a similar kind of thing, but now on future runs there'll be in some rooms allied monsters that make a battle easier. They'll scare away half of the monsters at the start of a fight or something, so that you can progress more easily. And then the idea is you'll get a bunch of these eggs and you'll plant them, and you'll have more and more as you go on. More and more of the map will have your friendly monsters, so you'll have to do fewer battles to progress further and deeper into the island. That's the idea.
Interesting.
And so instead of that effect at the top, they're going to have 3 tags. So the Dandlewick could be like a dandelion, and it's also a like a candle or something. And then those tags will be used to feed the monsters.
That's interesting. I guess two responses. One, on a very basic level, these are plants that are half made up but very inspired by real things, right? The leaves on this fern are made up of tiny conifer needles. That's realish, but then the picture is like a really toony cartoon thing, and the name isn't real. So that was my first impression of why would I even read this? It's confusing me about the real world, and there's nothing sort of aesthetically pleasing about it. And then when you get all 4 in a row, look, it's a bunch of reading. You want to confuse yourself? You're like, no, not necessarily. So what I was thinking was some of the simplest things that make tiny details like this more attractive is putting them in a context of the story. So,
Sure.
You know how Smash Brothers does those really funny images that takes the characters from the game and kind of makes scenes and stuff out of it?
Yeah.
If the main character that you made or something was interacting with these plants in the image, or if the animals that are attracted to it, or somehow it builds a scene, even though that sounds like a lot more artwork, that would be much more interesting to me.
Sure.
Like a one-panel funny little comic / image that's still very much about that plant, but kind of sells it in an image rather than in text.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. That the flavor text there is just meant to be like a little. It's not actually important mechanically. It's meant to just be like a little, just detail, something to help explain what the thing is, and just add a little bit of flavor to it. You captured a lot of things here. But it does have kind of like a prominent position on the card, and I guess that kind of makes it look more important than it is. Maybe when they're showing you in that list, it could just show you the mechanical information.
Yeah. So
and that flavor text could just be hidden in your log somewhere or something.
One thing I'm starting to notice with the game is when you do something, when you learn what you did, and then when you're able to take advantage of that information. And right now, it feels like everything is separated by gaps of time and activity. For example, that flavor text about the fern probably should be something that you can do in the game when you walk through a fern or something. Like at its highest production value, you'd touch it, and then your voice, I'm gonna keep saying that, your voice comes in and reads the flavor text, and you're like, as you're in, so like when you clear a room of enemies and there's nothing really to do in it, there's really nothing to do in the game. But if you have a lot of the details that you're already putting in the game more evenly distributed and contextual, that would increase their effectiveness without increasing the content necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Because the world's like plasticky and dead, and then you get this info dump, and I don't read it, and then I'm back to shooting things, kind of a thing.
Sure. No, that does make sense. It's just it would be a lot. It would be a lot of extra assets and things to like have voice clips and things, or art clips, all of these pieces.
Yeah. So if the text popped up, that'd be the economical solution.
Yeah, like the text pops up maybe after you capture something.
or like after everything's killed and you're just and there's basically no threat, then a little text that pops up near the plant, or if you stand next to a plant for like a second or a half second, then it pops up. So if the player is really, really curious, like even the slightest bit of curiosity, as they're moving to the exit, they're like, hold on. And then they read the funny name, go, haha, and then they leave. But that's way more effective.
That's a good point, actually, because then you can see it in the context of the room you were just in.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, I was there 10 minutes ago capturing this thing.
It's like Metroid Prime with this way, because Metroid Prime scanning, I think everybody liked it, and that's why right when you're curious, if you can give them the information, it's like 4 times, 5 times as effective.
So you can access information right at the point where you capture something, because when you press the capture button, it says, do you want to capture these things?
Yeah.
And the information is the same there, listed as it is in the end screen of the quest. But that is also like a contextual, like you have to have your capture meter full, so it's kind of situational in that sense, and you have to be like attempting to capture something to see the information. So it could be improved by maybe what you were saying about how, like, if you're in a room without combat and you're standing next to something, maybe a little text could pop up. Something like that, maybe separating the idea of scanning something from capturing it.
Like when I get hit by harmful plants and then I clear the room, I kind of want to know why I'm itchy or whatever. So if there was a way to like directly investigate, which is much better than going into a menu or doing anything like that. The more you can attach to direct character mechanics and controls like that, way better. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And you pack so many puns into just the name alone, right? I don't know if your flavor text was as funny as a lot of the other text you have in the game, or your like YouTube videos. I've
written like 100 of them.
Yeah, there must be a lot. Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I mean that's basically. So you've seen here pretty much all of the mechanics. If you go to my devlog, I can show you some of the changes I've made recently.
Okay, hold on. Right monitor, like this, and I go to patch quest, like this, and I do this. Boop. Okay. Stream is looking at your Discord.
So if you go to my devlog channel, and you scroll, we'll go to the latest message, but then scroll up until you see the most recent map of the overworld.
Okay. Something like this?
Yeah. A little higher. Yeah, okay, so I've rejigged the world a little bit. So at the moment, the way that the Fog of War works is that when you plug a bit of the storm, it like clears a little bit of the map around that, like you saw. But I've changed that now. Instead, I've tied the minimap to the habitats. So you can see here that the 4 starter habitats are available on the map, yeah? But then there are these question marks, and those question marks represent sort of a central landmark in each of the habitats that you haven't seen. And when you reach that, then that habitat gets cleared or gets revealed on your minimap for that run and for future runs.
Okay.
And there's a GIF below of that happening. But
the yin yang habitat. Let's go.
Yeah. The Zen habitat, yeah. So you reach the central bit, and then you've expanded your minimap. So that's one of the new progression mechanics I've added in the last couple of weeks. Then also, if you look back at that map, you'll see there are 4 dungeon shrines on it.
Okay.
So the way that these shrines work is that when you defeat them, so you have to like reach them first, and then you have to defeat them, which would be a sequence of battles. Then what they do is they unlock a shortcut, which then allows you to reach that part of the map faster on a future run, so that you can then use it sort of as a springboard to get to a further on part in the island. And the idea is that if I can add a bunch of these, I can make like a sort of snakes and ladders kind of shortcut map over the map, and I can make the island bigger, because you can like jump from section to section. Because one of the problems I have with the size of the map right now is that if I make the island too big, then it's like, it's going to take me half an hour to do a run now because I've got to get all the way out here. So the idea is that you'll be able to incrementally get further by unlocking these shortcuts, and then you're like, I only have to run like 5 rooms, and then I take a shortcut, and then I run another 5 rooms, and then I take a shortcut, and now I can get to this dungeon which is further away, and then I can try and defeat that and unlock another shortcut. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the plan for the mid-game progression, which is sort of what I'm shifting gears into now. And so that's replacing like all these I'm trying to, so with the vortex and the storm and all of that, what I was trying to do with that mechanic was give you something that you can spend the loot that you've captured on, and that in turn lets you progress further and capture more things, sort of like a self-contained loop in that way. And so the idea was, you spend it by putting it on a patch and then putting that patch in a hole in the world, and then you expand your map and things. But it was very restrictive in how it can be used, and so I'm kind of splitting that mechanic up into a bunch of mechanics that each do like a piece of that. So one of them being you reach the center of the habitat, that expands your mini-map. But then another one will be you capture the loot and you feed it to your monsters, and then you can use their eggs to upgrade your map. And then also I'm going to let you in some places like plant things that are in your bag. So if you have like a helpful fruit thing, then there might be a patch of soil, and if you can plant it in there, and then on future runs there'll be more of that fruit. That's what I was doing today. I was doing these new scan inventory thing, new like Patchopedia kind of thing. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to just I feel like that was the weakest part of the game, was the progression of like, I've got to go to these storm vortexes and fill them with patches that I've captured. So I'm trying to break that up into a bunch of different exploration mechanics, a bit like how in Forager there's a whole bunch of different ways you can progress through that game. You can like gather money for things. You can also unlock new skills with your experience. There's also like these dungeons that you can clear to get trinkets, and a bunch of things like that. And then there's no there's a little bit more flexibility in the order you do things. Like each of the little things you do in the game helps you get a little bit further with the other ones as well. So I'm kind of going for something a little bit like that, where There's just a bunch of different tasks you can do, and doing each of them will help you in some of the others. Just scrolling through pictures here of the shrines that I've added.
Let me see. Just some things that I thought of. Have you ever thought about having just a tile with bullets on it?
What do you mean?
So like right now you go into a battle room and it's enemies that move and shoot and react to stuff. But do you have any tiles that's just like the natural or the challenge of getting from one side to the other is that there's
more like a platforming kind of challenge where you have like in Enter the Gungeon there are trap rooms where they shoot projectiles in patterns and you've got to like swerve around them.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Or
So I am planning to add those.
are those going to be dungeon centric?
They can be in the dungeons, but I want them to appear in the overworld as well because I think it will make a nice break from just going into another room and shooting another set of monsters. I think it'd be nice to mix up like every so often. Oh, it's a platforming kind of room.
Do you have any puzzles?
No.
So some of the most basic things you can do in action games is to create, especially ones with shooting, is to create a target test. You can walk to a center of a patch / to a tile screen, and then if things pop up and you only have so many shots, then it's like pow pow pow. If you get it, great. If not, you move on. So like tiny little random things like that to break things up would be great as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. I've seen that in a couple of roguelikes. It could be themed. It's sometimes difficult to theme things in this game because so much of it is like a natural island, but there could be some kind of like shrine, some kind of there's already this sort of ancient stones structures, so it could be connected to that.
Yeah. Another type of mini game that you make is your game is essentially just moving and shooting. So if you want to make a mini game out of moving, that'd be more like your obstacle courses or whatever. And here's where things can kind of get interesting in its own way. The base character doesn't have any unique movement. It's just moving, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing you can do with an obstacle course with your base character is something that tests timing or analog control using the control stick, which is still pretty cool. Not a lot of games stress analog stick control, so you'd be dipping into a little bit of monkey ball territory, which I love. But the other thing you can do is, you can start designing challenges that maybe require the player to do a little bit more, like a dash, and that's when carrying the right mount to the right challenge.
Yes. That's something that I've wanted to add to the game, like having certain mounts be useful for a certain like puzzly kind of thing. I've just found it difficult to work that in a way that doesn't just like get overshadowed by the action which you're doing all the time.
So let's see. We'll come back to that point. And this is a level design thing. I'm writing down notes. Level. I should be typing them, but nope. The next thing is how much does a really skilled player, how much of a difference does it make versus a not really skilled player on just a single like battle encounter?
So the main difference is going to be how many times you get hit, essentially. And there does come a cap where it's like, if you're skilled enough, you can just not get hit in a lot of battles. And then from there isn't so much of a... It's very much a cap to the skill ceiling at the moment. Yeah,
that's something that's you can feel pretty easily. So I was thinking, well, what other games do to show different skills of players is, your aim and the speed in which you can take things out matters. Do you have any kind of a system in place where if you nail a certain amount of shots in a certain amount of time, the enemies get dizzy? Is that what I saw?
No, the dizziness is done by ailment effects. So sometimes if you're riding a monster that does an ability you can use that ailment on it, or if you reflect an enemy shot, then whatever ailment it would have dealt to you gets dealt to them. So there's things like that, or plants sometimes shoot out ailment dealing projectiles.
Yeah.
But there isn't currently something that's like based on, oh, you did it especially well in this battle, so some effect happens. But that would be cool to add.
So right now I'm thinking about a lot of the things you already have in your game, and I'm trying to keep the same ideas in, but shift them into a way where they are more directly tied and revealed through your base gameplay. For example, a lot of games do stuff with aiming, and in your game, if you had a system where if you nail, let's say, like 6-8 shots in a row on an enemy, they get that temporary, like, slightly roared, stunned, dizzy state or whatever. So in that case, somebody with really good aim on moving enemies could predict their motion, have the trail of bullets go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hit them, and then that enemy be stunned, and then that person can then take out some other enemies or manipulate the field a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then the battle would actually look different on the screen from that skill player versus others. Others would be running away from bullets all the time. This player would be taking less shots, hitting more shots, and getting more clarity out of their strategic targeting. And that's a big difference.
Yeah, I like that idea. Something like that would be good.
And
there is currently the only thing you can really do to sort of interrupt monsters or affect the field like that is to use the mount skills, which can have ailments on them. But again, it's quite situational because first you have to level up the monsters.
Yeah.
I have reduced in this coming version the amount of XP you need to get a monster to level 1. A big part of the reason why I put the levels in was because it was just a lot of things for the player to take in to have all these different mounts, but then they also all have 3 abilities when you jump on them. The idea was just to slow that down a little bit. Like, oh, you get your defense skill and you can use that for a few rooms, and now you get your attack. And if you keep using that monster, you get your second attack, and maybe some stuff beyond there. But it would be good to have something that's more based on the base mechanics. I do feel like the gun is a little like it's very much like a spam kind of thing at the moment, where you just keep shooting. I put like quite a long reload on it to try and like kind of make a little bit more of a tactics kind of thing. Like, oh, your aim does matter, because if you just keep missing shots, then you have to reload and it takes a while. But something like what you're saying, where if you can get if you can like not miss your shots, then you get some kind of shot combo.
Yeah, because even though I like how long the reload timing is, it doesn't change the strategy. It just makes me be able to not shoot at times. But my ultimate strategy is always move out of the way of the bullets and always shoot when I can shoot. So that's kind of like it doesn't impact the strategic. It just kind of prolongs and makes more obvious my mistakes.
Something I have wanted to do. It's still a kind of an underdeveloped idea. But so at the moment, the elite monsters, they're very similar to regular monsters. They're just a little bit bigger. They have more HP, and you can't capture them until you like break their shield, basically. To stop you just like, oh, I capture it, now the challenge is over. But I would like to have something a little bit more kind of situational, how you fight them. Like in Zelda, there's often a lot of situations where it's like, oh, I shouldn't attack this thing yet. I should wait for a certain opening and then attack the thing. So I was thinking that the elite monsters could maybe have something like that, where they have like some kind of extra defense up, and it is down at some times, or some things you do like create openings or things, just to sort of also help them like stand out from the regular monsters as well, who you can just sort of spam down.
An idea to support that is if the elite monsters can roam from patch to patch, kind of like the Metroids in Super Metroid 2, where you're battling them in one set of conditions, and then if they take enough damage or you wait too long or whatever,
they leave.
Like, I'm out, and then you chase them, and then they actually layer on top of whatever challenge tile that they run to. So depending on how you
Yeah.
approach the elite monster, depending on how you fight them, depending on what's around them, you get all these different sort of scenarios that can play out based on your skill. It's got to be based on your skill too. That'd be really nice. And then if you like, I know you don't have a weakness resistance thing, and I kind of like that you don't. I like being able to count my shots and just know, like, okay, I'm counting rather than multiplying things in order to figure out what's happening. But essentially, if you have a shield that needs a certain type of ammo, like a fruit mix to take down, that means you're like, well, I know I left some grapes over here, and then you're like, should I get the grapes first? Should I fight them first? Should I do this first? And then, so right now I'm moving through the map, and there's really it doesn't really matter where I go. I'm trying to go to some of the key things, but when I leave a patch, the only time that matters is when I left the clear fruit. I'm going to go clear my element, and I left some hearts, and that's just one patch away. I'm probably never going to go more than one patch away. Part
of it is I don't want to encourage too much backtracking.
Why is that?
Because it can be kind of dull in a game if it's like, oh, there's something 6 rooms back that I left, so I'll go run all the way there and I'll run all the way back. The way some roguelikes get around that is by letting you teleport at least one of those directions. Like Enter the Gungeon has teleport points around the map, and so you can run off and get something, and then you can teleport back to the closest teleport point. But it's still kind of like, I find it kind of an annoying part of the game.
Yeah.
And Children of Mortar has a system where once you've discovered the end of the map, you can teleport directly to the exit. But, Patch Quest doesn't have like those exits in that sense. It's not like a floor-based roguelike in that way. So,
that is good that you recognize that the primary downfall of creating layer design or nonlinear play spaces is this issue of backtracking. Your monster encounters do not respawn. I think that's good. But then there's always the case of, well, then you're kind of traveling back through empty spaces. And like you're saying, fast travel or something of that ilk would be a way to remedy that. Even if it's the player enters a cleared room, they can pretty much like zip straight to the other opposite end, or the top down, left, right. So that even though they're not teleporting, it's just like zip, 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 and you can kind of
I played a game. I played a roguelike shooter. Mm-hmm. It was very minimalist. I can't remember what it was called. It was on Steam. It was like a £5 one. But you're this little ship, and when you dash, you do an incredibly long dash, like almost instant teleport. Mm-hmm. And so with one dash, you can like zip across a whole room, and so you could actually backtrack in that game incredibly quickly. Mm-hmm. Just by using that ability. I don't know how it would translate into Patch Quest though, in terms of mechanics.
As far as I was thinking, it's less so a something that you feel like is happening within the fiction. It's more so something that you realize is a time saving tool. So when you watch a montage in a movie, you don't think like, whoa, what happened? They were just over here and now they're over there. You realize, oh, they're showing me events over time and they're not trying to waste my time, so they show me bits. If you do something like that, the presentation of it in Patch Quest could pretty much sell the idea that you're traveling back physically, but it doesn't have to actually happen like that. Like your character could be a huge sprite marching across the screen, but then the patches are just like flipping like pieces of paper, kind of a thing.
Yeah, so one thing I do when I'm testing the game, if I press the plus button on my keyboard, I put the game into triple speed mode, mm-hmm. so that I can very quickly move around and test things. And then when I play the game normally, I do find that I very much miss triple speed mode. Like not when I'm battling, obviously, because it becomes useless because everything's going around. But when I'm like traveling, it's so nice to just like run around incredibly quickly. But maybe I could make it so that if you go into a backtrack into a room you've already cleared, like a little fast forward icon could maybe appear in the corner of the screen, and you could run around in triple speed.
Yeah. Or
maybe just double, but then it'll let you backtrack a lot more smoothly, which I think could be a big.
Let's see, fast travel. Another thing to keep in mind is backtrack. So even having no challenge and no new content can actually be a really good thing when you're trying to sell the interconnectivity of a world. So you said that Patchlantis, it reshuffles when?
At the end of a quest. So each run.
Okay, but then some things don't reshuffle?
The only things that don't reshuffle are the
storm,
landmarks,
in the
or
storm
things
holes?
that you've pinned down.
Okay, so ideally, like a really, really, really good run, is a player supposed to never die, or do you expect them to get to like the end of the map and then teleport back to base? Can they beat the whole game without dying in one run? That's what I'm asking.
I would eventually like you to be able to complete the game without dying. Although, so the way I'm thinking about the end game, I'm going to have 4 key dungeons that you can do, and they'll each be in like a different corner of the map. And then once you've cleared all 4 of them, a 5th dungeon will open up, and then you can do that 5th dungeon as a final sort of challenge, just to send the game off, basically. And I'm thinking that it would be nice if you can sort of sequence break and like go, all this way off without dying through it, missing all the shortcuts, just like being skilled and reaching this faraway location in a run. Because they're in different corners, I imagine you would save time by recalling and then going back like to the next one. But essentially in 4 runs, you could reach the 4 key dungeons.
Okay.
Is sort of what I'm thinking. So essentially what you're saying, yeah.
So if you have systems like scanning local flora and fauna, if you have systems like runaway elite monsters, if you have systems like finding little platforming or whatever challenges that you may want to tackle now or later, those are going to be compelling reasons to go back through the same spaces. Because one, maybe you get another attempt at it, maybe from like you're entering the tower from the top instead of the bottom. 2, whenever you're bored, you have so many things that you can interact with that if you skip that planet 5 times, the 6th time you walk past it, you're like, what's the name of that thing again? That's a good thing. 3, it reinforces the consistency of your world. That's why I was asking, like, how often does it reshuffle? But if you want to kind of do more cool things like this, reshuffling it less often would be ideal. So the player's like, okay, I'm getting a feel for what plants grow with what biomes and which animals tend to this, and you're kind of seeing the flavor text actually happen through the game world. Not to mention, if the battles are tough, having some low periods would be nice.
So, I mean, I have been thinking for a while about whether I do or don't want the world to reshuffle at various times. Obviously, as a roguelike, reshuffling the levels is what they do. But then, another game genre that it's like has some similarities with is Metroidvanias, which of course don't reshuffle the map at all. They have like a fixed map, which is the same every time. The only games that have really like gone in between that would be like Dead Cells, where it is a roguelike Metroidvania in the sense that you can connect like certain floors like connect to each other in like a branching tree, but the little pathways are different. Although I don't know if I necessarily want to do that route either so much. So I am unsure whether, part of me thinks I should make the overworld more authored and more like a system of like locked doors, and you go around the back and you unlock it and you sort of and have it not shuffle in that sense. Although it is a lot of extra work to do that from where I am, and you do lose a certain amount of the roguelike sort of I don't know what's around this corner kind of aspect.
What if all the specialty tiles were pinned, like just the somewhat stable, just the like mini games and maybe the whatever else I was thinking.
So that is kind of the compromise I'm going for. Is that so you saw those 4 shrines that I added. I'm planning to add like a bunch more things that are like that stay in the same location, and then another idea I had is like as you progress, you can sort of pin more things down, and then over time the map does become more like stable because you pin more things down.
Yeah, I like that.
You can come back and
I like that.
So that's in fact after this battle, if you open your map.
Okay. This right look kind of weird right there. I guess you're aware of that.
Which sprite?
When
I'm a
you-
little delayed watching the stream.
When the frog jumps, you're telling me it's in 3D, but he was still underneath the bullets that he was jumping over, layered wise.
Yeah, because he has a height component. Yeah.
So if there's any way to make sure that things that leap up in the air kind of are above the sprites that are down on the floor would be good.
Yeah, I mean, right now the way it works is that bullets are always drawn on top of everything
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want a situation where the bullet goes behind a tree
Mm-hmm.
and then you go behind a tree and you're like, oh, I got hit by something I didn't even see. So I have at the moment the bullets drawn on a separate layer after everything else. Okay, so the map here. So there's a question of how many connections should there be and how many dead ends should there be in the maze, right? Because if there's a lot of connections, you have more freedom in which way you go. Like, oh, this way has this thing, so I'm not going to go that way, I'm going to go this way. But then at the same time, if there's too many connections, it's like it sort of trivializes it as well, where it's like, well, I'll just run straight to my destination. And then having the dead ends like, oh, I've got to go around the corner and get to the thing, makes a little bit more intentionality in the travel.
Let me show you something that'll probably help answer that question. I just need to not lose my bearings. Here, 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 here. This is my portfolio Leo. I have these articles on Pac-Man. And this one in particular, it talks about Pac-Man's level design, hallways, turns when you're designing mazes. And essentially, there's 3 different types: one-way turns, 3-way turns, or 4-way turns. Hallways and maybe dead ends if you really want to make a dead end. Then I analyzed a bunch of levels from the Google thingy, right, and using the same breakdown, and then a bunch of levels from the Google Map Pac-Man. And the conclusion is basically, when navigating is what you want to be interesting, you have to arrange a series of like 4-way turns connected to some 3-ways, connected to fewer 1-ways. And that's what creates the most number of interesting decisions that lead into either rerouting or dead ends, like natural dead ends. But doing that in Patch Quest is on the macro scale, right? You don't feel the maze because you're kind of